Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, Kim Seltzer, a dating and makeover expert, where I will help you build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. I'm back doing another episode of Where Are They Now? So, for those of you who haven't heard these episodes before, as you know, I coach a lot of people. And of course, you've heard me coaching people live on this podcast with my Coaching with Kimmy episodes. And I also have a ton of clients who I send off into the world after coaching them. And it's so amazing and rewarding when I hear countless success stories and read thousands of emails of previous clients updating me on how their life has improved and often how they find love. So I do these Where Are They Now episodes to inspire and motivate you by hearing what happens to people after I work with them. And whether that is on a podcast or working with them over time as clients, I hope you listen to these and get inspired by people's successes and know that success can happen to you too. And really, it all starts with a call. So today I am bringing on a special man I worked with whom I actually met at a flirt workshop a while back. And he's a widower who lost his wife after a 35-year of marriage, and he recognized that he needed some help in getting back out there as he didn't know where to start and had no idea how to date in the modern world, especially as a man in his 60s. And he definitely needed some help with flirting and helping with his confidence when it came to approaching women. He also knew that as a former lawyer that he was a little bit analytical and he could get in his head, and he definitely sometimes would be a little too direct and serious. So we were we were working on being a little more playful, especially in the process of dating, and that dating is not serious. But when you've never done it before and you've been in a relationship for a long time, this is the hardest part, is learning to just have fun. And as we worked together, I was helping him develop a dating plan, much like a business plan, which included online dating and getting him out there and having real life interaction so that he could just practice what it was like to date without getting attached, which is definitely a new thing when you're relationship oriented. And it was a whole new concept for him, but most of all, just to be more playful. We set up a profile. We kind of worked on his navigation of the profile so that he could just practice talking to many women. And he did start dating different women from different aspects. He even got set up at one point. But it really was just to understand him in the process. And eventually, he met this one amazing woman, and I'm just so excited to have him on where he's going to talk about it. And they're really enjoying each other, and I'll let him tell the rest. Welcome, Alan. Are you there?
I'm here, Kimmy.
Hello there. And I just learned that you used to do radio while you were younger. And I
Yeah,
can't get over what a great voice you have.
well, that was way back before TV.
That's a novel, right?
Yeah,
Before TV.
yeah.
No, that was before my era, for sure. Um,
Before mine too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress. I just am so excited to have you on and just like hear more about just this new woman, but more importantly, your journey that you've been on and sharing that with the world. Um, do you remember that guy that I described a while back?
Well, was it that bad? I don't know.
Yeah. And it wasn't that it was bad. It was like completely just normal for somebody who's been in a relationship so long. And I was just so happy that you took the opportunity to work together so that it wasn't as, hard. But I'd love for you to just in your words explain like how it was for you back then and what prompted you to even get on a call with me.
I had been married for 35 years. I had waited a year after my wife passed to consider getting back in the game, as you put it. And I knew that I needed some help. I'd been out of the game for a long time. And even before I got married, I was really not, a dating Lothario. I was, more of a relationship guy. And
Mm.
I wasn't up on the latest technology, texting and emojis and all that stuff. I mean, I was still using email, uh,
Yeah.
which is I don't think the way you do it these days. So uh, there's a lot that I had to learn, and you were sort of a guest speaker on a flirting webinar. I was impressed. You made a lot of sense. Don't take this the wrong way, but you were a little bit older than some of the other dating coaches, so I thought you were more relatable um, to a guy like me. I thought it made sense for me to reach out to you, and I'm very glad I did.
I know, and I'm so happy you did
Yeah.
too. Do
Yeah.
you remember just kind of the feelings that you were having around, even just the thought of dating and what was going on that, because I know so many people listening can relate to this, and I'd love for you to
Yeah.
share that.
It was something I had to do.
Mm.
It's not interested in spending the rest of my life by myself.
What was intimidating for you back then?
I've always been sort of an introverted
Hmm.
guy, somewhat risk averse, a little hesitant to make the first move, out of fear of rejection, fairly common
Hmm.
phenomenon. So, and I think that's what was intimidating about it, and also just not knowing, how you're going to be received. It's like, a new play comes to Broadway, right? And yeah, and
I love that.
the critics pan it and it closes down in 2 days, or they love it. So I didn't know how it was going to turn out,
Hmm.
uh, but I think that element of uncertainty and played a
Yeah.
role in my feelings.
Yes. No, I'm so glad that you mentioned that because, regardless of what journey anybody's been on and you listening to this, I mean, if you're an introvert on top of it all, like that's another layer, right? Like, because it's already intimidating and overwhelming going out after being in a relationship so long and also like losing your wife. And now to add to that, just that whole, like,
Yeah,
I remember you saying, like, approaching women, flirting, what? Like you're just
yeah,
like, and let's
yeah,
face it, you were in your head a lot with it,
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not a natural flirt. Well, at least I don't think so. It turned out I was, probably better than I thought I would be, but
You are. And I told you that. Like
uh,
and that was the thing that impressed me about you is that it's like you don't know what you don't know, but you have such a great sense of humor. You are such a loving and kind soul, and just leading with just kind of that fun side of you, and letting him loose, so to speak, after a
right,
very like hard time that you went through was so important. And
right,
so I'm glad you're sharing this. And I mean, this, and also women listening to this, I love that you are a man coming on here and talking about it as a widower, because a lot of times women think that they're the only ones that have this,
right, right,
especially these fears that you mention.
right. Yeah, I mean, the other thing I should mention is, we moved down to Texas from the Northeast,
Hmm.
in 2019. So on top of that, I'm in a new town, um, don't know a lot of people, don't have a network. So,
Hmm.
that added to the difficulty.
That's right. Oh my God. It's like I almost forgot about that. No,
Yeah.
that was a big thing because you're like, I don't even know where to go and who to hang out with. And the social aspect
Hmm.
was huge. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so I remember, I don't know if do you remember that first woman, what you were like shopping? There was that first encounter that you had with a woman who was very attractive, and you like had a banter with her, and it seemed like she was attracted to you. Do you
Right.
remember this story?
No, I do remember it. It was at a store down here. that has a like a bar in the store.
Right. Oh, right.
So you could have a drink while you're shopping, and I guess the theory is that will get you to buy more stuff, or make it easier to talk to women. Yeah, there was a woman there who was with her friend, and she was very attractive and very nice and very friendly, and of course I blew it and didn't ask for her number, and I told you about it, and then you yelled at me. So
Did not yell at you. I actually was so happy and excited that you approached a pretty lady and you got really excited about it.
yeah,
And it was just the only thing that it was the close, right? Like it was taking it to the end where you could possibly ask her to have a
right,
drink
right.
sometime or
Oh yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, she had, my excuse was her friend was there too, and didn't know how to sort of get rid of the friend. But
Right.
uh,
Well, I think I instructed you. You could have asked them both out at that
oh,
point.
oh, that would have made me a cad. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, I think the point is and the reason why I bring that story up, I felt like that was the start of some of this journey that you were on and really and there were a couple other women that you encountered along the way. Do you want to talk about just then as we started working together some of the experiences that you had?
well, let's see. I'll do this, protecting the innocent. But I set up with one woman, which was, I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail, but
No, no.
it wasn't a real good fit. We really didn't have a whole lot in common,
Mhm.
and but it was my first like date, if you will.
Mhm.
It was meaningful in that she I don't the risk of being immodest. I mean, I think that she was into me, so that gave me some confidence that okay, hey, you're sellable out there. So,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a good fit. So we moved on from there, and um, I went on a dating site that probably was not the best for me, and you you tell me that pretty quickly, and you also said that my profile was way too heavy. But if you recall
You make
that,
me sound so mean, Alan.
no, you're not mean. You're a good coach. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
if the player is making a mistake, you got to correct it. So met one woman on that
Mhm.
site, and we went out several times, but it didn't. It was not progressing, and then at some point, she told me that uh, you know she, she just was not interested in dating. Period.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I remember that.
So and she since has like gotten off all the dating sites, but we spent some good time together, and I mean she was a really good person and fun to be with, but it wasn't going anywhere, so moved on to gone on the Bumble site and met another nice woman down
Mhm.
here, around my age, uh, who we had we probably went out for I don't know 3 months or so, and we had a good time, and she was nice to be around, but I concluded that uh, it sort of had was running its course, and I'm and I mean she might have felt the same way, and I'm not. I'm not sure, but it just kind of petered out. Um, and around the time that it was petering, I met a woman down here, which is kind of a funny story because it's a combination of in real life and online dating.
Oh wait, okay, yes.
Frankly,
And before you get into
yeah,
that, yeah,
yeah,
because this is kind of like the grand finale as you we
right,
reveal the woman. Um, but what I love, like as you're recalling all these different experiences, what were some of the takeaways and how that kind of like helped you, with each experience and the things that we worked on together that was really helping you along the way?
right. Well, I think well, I guess a couple of things. I mean, one thing you told me was don't get attached too soon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're the kid in the candy store at this point. Uh, and just shop around, as the song goes. Don't worry about the outcome on these dates.
Yeah.
Just you're exploring. Just have a good time, see what's out there. You're getting your bearings, getting your mojo back. But don't worry, where it's going. So that was one
Mm.
thing, and then also just getting practice dating, and
Yeah.
getting your confidence, which comes with experience. And one thing that became clear to me is that at least in this town, I mean, there are a lot of very eligible women
Mm-hmm.
out there. I mean, either they're widowed or they divorced. But there are a lot of women out there, looking for companionship or relationship. Seem like very possible to, you know, and somewhat easy to date and to meet people because
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of them out. There are a lot of them out here.
Yeah. Well, and I noticed too, like what you were indicating, that your confidence was growing too, with
Hmm.
each interaction with each woman, and we would dissect each woman, so to speak,
Yeah.
and what was right and what didn't work, what worked, that kind of thing. Were there certain things that really helped you with your confidence in this process?
Bearing in mind what you said, go out there,
Yeah.
have fun. I mean, I'm a pretty good conversationalist.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good sense of humor. Once I let go of the introversion,
Yes.
I'm a pretty sociable guy, uh, I just saw on these dates where, you go into a date and you say, well, what am I going to say for, half an hour? And then, it's 4 hours later and the
Mm-hmm.
place is closing down. And, you know, I must have come up with something to say. So, once I saw that I could do that, it generated confidence in myself.
Totally. Well, I think it was that validation that you needed too. And it's funny
Hmm.
how we're so hard on ourselves and we see ourselves different than other people do. And
Hmm.
I think the more you got that external validation,
Right.
it helped with your internal, confidence and validation and to keep going. Cause I know that's what's so funny. Like even in the beginning, of this episode, you're like, well, I wasn't a good flirt, and it's like, but you are like for all the reasons you just said. You have a great sense of humor. You're sociable. You didn't see yourself that way, and I think you had to see yourself in order to like really become it, so that other women could see it. If that makes sense.
Well, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and hopefully to you listening too, as well. Um, and so, all right, yeah, share the story of now the woman as you were about to share.
Well, I don't.
Dun,
That's
dun, 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 dun. I feel like I
that's
need like the drum
yeah. Well,
throw.
that you're really putting the pressure on right now. But anyway, about a year ago, it's kind of funny that the woman who officiated at my wife's funeral had an event where she had like four or five women storytellers
Hmm.
perform, and this is for the officiant's birthday, or for her 60th birthday. So I went, and it was a fun. It was on a Sunday afternoon, I think, and um, I get there, went by myself, and I'm reading the program, and there's this one woman who was going last, who had a very intriguing background as described in the program, and she told a great story, and was very compelling and very attractive. But
Mm.
for some reason, uh, I got the feeling that she was a lesbian. So that's
Oh.
so, so not, and I got nothing against lesbians, okay? So, but,
Right, obviously, it's not that
but
bad.
but for someone who's you know in dating mode, or about to be in dating mode, it seemed like a no-go. And then about 6 months after that, um, the same officiant had a dinner party out at her place, and it was me and five women. And it turned out that one of the women, that the purpose of the party was to set me up with one of the women
Uh-huh.
who was not the woman that I'm talking about. And that didn't pan out. Now, I didn't even know it was a setup. So, but again, this intriguing woman was there, and we ended up talking a lot. And then it was time to go, and this dinner party was on this small ranch out here, and where you had to open up a gate to drive out of the onto the road. And this woman said, "Okay, well, I'm going to open up the gate, drive out first. You drive out after me and close the gate." I said, "Wow." I said, "Wow, that's a little bossy, but who cares? She's a lesbian, so it doesn't matter." So
I know this part.
yeah, so that happened, and really didn't think about her very much after that. And then, I'm on Bumble uh, per your instructions. Um,
Hmm.
and it turned out that she was on Bumble, and she'd just gotten on, and she saw me and said, "Oh, well, okay, this guy looks okay." And I remember him, and this is easy. So she swiped right, or whatever women do on Bumble. So you know, I, I see her there, and she's only using her initials, not her name. And I wasn't 100% sure that it was her. And but I shot her a message saying, "Well, if this is you, and um, if you're interested, I am too."
Aw.
That's so that's what we did, and we got together one evening at a bar out here, and spent the whole night,
Mm.
talking, and drinking champagne, and pretty much closed down the place. And then it just went on from there. So at this point, we've been going out for about 4.5 months, and yeah,
Nice.
it's really been great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so awesome. And do you feel like you're different now too, and that some of that also helped you attract this woman into your life right now?
What do you mean by different?
Meaning, then when I first met you, do you feel like because kind of grew in confidence and putting yourself out there
I mean,
and
it's possible, but also you kind of react to the stimuli, if you know what I
Mhm.
mean. And I mean, she is a very attractive, special person. So um, You know, sometimes, people bring it out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, completely. It's like a dance, right?
yeah,
And it, you, it, it's a reflection of each other and it takes two to tango for sure.
sure.
But I guess my point is if you were still,
Yeah, if it had been my first date,
yeah,
it might
exactly.
it may not have gone as well. So I was definitely fortunate in having cut my teeth
Hmm.
on some other uh, women who were not as special, at least as far as I was concerned. So
Well, and I want to commend you because I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. So I'm going to because I know you're not going to.
okay,
In that, like, you put yourself out there. You might have not reached out and Bumble and say, "Is this you?" Do you know what I'm saying? That took courage and you made it happen yourself. So I want you to see your own power in that. Like,
yeah,
if you hadn't done that, or if you hadn't take notice of her and had that conversation or that little moment that impressed you at the party, like, it's all those things that kind of work together. There's never just like one reason,
right,
but also know that it's because of where you are now. Like you said, you had some experience. I think just not overthinking it, and you just kind of went for it and asked her, and because of that, look at what happened. So
yeah.
it's amazing. That's
Well,
awesome.
you have to put yourself out there, or nothing's going to happen. So, um,
Bingo.
you have to take a risk, and that's true in almost anything. So,
That's right. And sometimes it's hard to do that when you're in fear or you're overwhelmed. And so,
uh,
the only time people change is to step into the fear, not run away from it. And you certainly did that because, on some levels, it was scary, kind of going out there, especially
yeah,
when you're like a fish out of the water.
right. But
Uh,
I was fortunate in having spent some time with her,
mm-hmm.
but I wasn't sure, what kind of chemistry, we would have in a one-on-one situation. But it turned out we had a lot.
Right. And the fact that you didn't care about it, like, you didn't overthink it, Alan.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah, that's true.
saying. Like, you just went with it. You went with the
Yeah.
flow, and that's all what it's about. So,
Hmm.
because I was going to ask you, I know there's so many people who are fearful of putting themselves out there. What would you say to someone who's listening to this who maybe wants to do it, but they are overwhelmed and scared, and to help them, you know, take a call with me or get a coach or whatever? Like, what would advice do you have?
Well, I think that if you're, overwhelmed and don't know what to do, you probably need a coach.
Mm.
Because I mean, the alternative is, you know, either staying home every night or going out there and going to a bar or something like that and standing in the corner and not knowing what to do. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. Uh, so yeah, I mean, get a coach, and wholeheartedly and endorse Kim Seltzer as coach of the year, as far as I'm
Oh.
concerned. You know, I think you and I, work together very well.
Mm.
And I consider you a friend as much as a coach. So,
Oh, thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
laying it on thick here.
I love it. Bring it on.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's not, I mean, you just, especially if you get to, my stage of the game. I mean, you don't know how many trips around the sun you got left. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you kind of sit around and do nothing, I mean, you're just wasting time. So,
Oh
I
my
would,
God, that's so well put. Can I just highlight that? Because I think a lot of times people think they're wasting time by going out there kissing a lot of frogs, but really, in essence, you're
yeah,
wasting more time by doing nothing. and staying frozen. So
Yeah.
that's such an important thing. And I want to commend you right back. And I always consider my clients my friends, and people are just, I pointed you in some direction, but really it was you that did the work. Like it was you that had the courage to step into this. And I know it wasn't easy with where you had come from. So that's why things are happening, and yeah, it takes two to tango, as I said. So
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, Alan, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey with us. And I know you've helped a lot of people with sharing it.
Okay. Well, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for joining me today, listening. This has been the Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, of course, Kimmy Seltzer. And remember, you can build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. And if you haven't dated in a while and need a little help navigating this modern dating world, definitely book a free private coaching call with me to brainstorm some ideas for your dating plan just by clicking the link you see in the show notes. And yes, it's me. It's not my assistant. People are like, oh, it's you. It's like, yes, it's me. I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you because it's one thing to listen, it's another thing to take action. And who knows, you might be the next success story, just like Alan, coming on my podcast in months to come. And remember, working on you is working on your dating life. That's all for now.